Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Annetta Felix. We begin with the latest on the invasion on the Nigerian Senate on Wednesday. The senator accused of leading the invasion, Ovie Omoagege, has secured a court injunction restraining security operatives from arresting him. Omoagege was picked up by the police after the invasion on Wednesday, hours after the incident, but was released the same day. A statement from his office also claimed his innocence, asserting that he was only invited for questioning. His lawyers approached the Federal High Court on Thursday, seeking an interim injunction against the further arrest or detention of the senator. A team of lawyers led by Aliyu Umar, a senior advocate of Nigeria, asked for court protection for the embattled senator pending determination of a fundamental human rights case brought against the respondents, or their request was granted by the judge. Meanwhile, the Nigerian senator summoned Ibrahim Idris, the Inspector General of Police, and Lawan Dora, the Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS, over the theft of the Senate mace. The mace was stolen on Wednesday by some thugs who invaded the Red Chambers. It has since been recovered and returned to the National Assembly. While speaking at plenary on Thursday, Ike Ekwuemadu, Deputy Senate President, described the incident as a smear on democracy. He said the upper legislative chamber is summoning the IGP and DSSDG to appear before it next week so as to brief it on the outcome of the investigation regarding the incident. Well, still on the crisis at the National Senate, at the Nigerian Senate, civil rights activist Emmanuel Oyeni has reacted to the incident. Oyeni is demanding the prosecution of the National Assembly leaders for its complicity in the incident. Well, according to him, the leaders and the security heads at the National Assembly chambers are responsible for the theft of the mace and must be prosecuted accordingly.
It's a total mess. It is the height of legislative rascality I have witnessed today. And the present crop of senators have proven to Nigerians that they are not even honorable, rather than to be distinguished. They are not even honorable. Talk more of being distinguished. Most of them are supposed to be recalled by their constituents. To a larger extent, a senator will walk with his thugs or his constituent to the National Assembly and take the mace. Where was the sergeant at arms? The National Assembly security, who cleared them, who also aided them to enter the hallowed chamber. I can assure you that even President Muhammadu Buhari cannot walk into the hallowed chamber of the National Assembly without due process. So how come these persons were able to gain access into the National Assembly? I think there is a conspiracy in the National Assembly against this act. So the sergeant at arms should be investigated. The clerk of the Senate should be investigated. And in fact, even the Senate president should have one or two ideas about what just took place. The idea of suspending senators are not right. Because when you suspend a senator, you have suspended his entire senatorial zone. It therefore means that within the period the man is going to be off the chamber, his people are off the governance of the country. The Senate should be able to prescribe other ways of punishing erring senators, either making them or forcing them to apologize before the floor of the National Assembly, making them to also tender such apologies on the pages of newspaper, to show sober reflection and what have you, rather than suspending them outrightly from the National Assembly. And the worst thing is that when you are suspended, within the period they will not pay you. When you come back, they will go to court and win the case, and they will pay them everything that they do not even search for. So the Senate should be more proactive.
Many Nigerians have again affirmed their readiness to play active roles in choosing their representatives in the 2019 general elections. This affirmation was made at the official launch of a new pro-good governance group in Abuja, the Red Card Movement. The movement focuses on awakening Nigerians to take responsibility in choosing credible representatives at all levels that will guarantee accountable leadership.
Another anti-bad leadership movement born in Nigeria. Though not much in numbers, but their voices are louder than their numbers.
Office of the citizen.
Their campaign is simple. All the political parties in the country have failed the people, and it's time for a new crop of leadership to rise from amongst the people.
So don't let anybody tell you that you can't, that you need this old political class,
that you need the riffraffs amongst us.
When we have our PVC, we go to destination, which is the polling units. That is where we will enforce the red card. And when we enforce it, you know what we do as we vote them out? We will stay there. They will count our votes. There, in our presence, they will congratulating us. They will congratulate us and say, thank you for helping us repair Nigeria. We have been looking for courageous people like you. That is what they have been waiting for. They don't have the capacity. They don't have the character. No competence.
Enumerating all the indices that define a well-governed and progressive society, the Red Card movement says Nigeria does not measure up to being described as a progressive nation, and this is due to bad and incompetent leadership at every stage of governance.
The office of the president, the office of the governor, the office of the Senate president, the office of the Speaker of the House, the office of a senator, the office of a member of the House, the office of a House of Assembly member, the office of a local government chairman, they are all subordinate to the office of the citizen. It is the office of the citizen that gives legitimacy to all the other offices in a democracy. Can there be an office of the president without the office of the citizen? No. Can there be an office of the Senate president without the office of the citizen? No. Can there be an office of the Speaker of the House without the office of the citizen? No. Can there be an office of the governor without the office of the citizen? No. Can there be the office of the senator, the speaker, the local government chairman without the office of the citizen? So why has the office of the citizen been behaving like a mumu?
As the rally was going on, Nigerians from all walks of life came to register as members of movements in their different communities. The movement already has coordinators in all the states of the Federation that will coordinate enlightenment programs and citizens' awareness ahead of 2019 elections.
The All Progressives Congress, APC, has announced that its national convention to elect officers for a new term in the party's leadership would hold on May 14. According to the schedule of activities released by the party, World Congresses will hold on May 2nd, while appeal that may arise from the conduct will be entertained on May 3rd. The schedule showed that local government area congresses will hold on May 5th, with appeal arising from the exercise fixed for May 7. It indicated that May 9 is the date for Congress at state level to elect executive committees of the party in all states of the country. To legal matters now, the Lagos state government has assured that it will spare no effort in ensuring the prosecution of suspected kidnapper Chukwudumeme Owadumeke, popularly known as Evans. Evans, who was arrested at his mansion in Magodo area of Lagos last year, is being prosecuted by the state government in court alongside others for masterminding and executing a series of high-profile kidnappings and murder in the state. Well, his lawyer is currently challenging those charges and has asked the court to set his client free. The Lagos State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Adeniji Kazeem, who is in charge of the prosecution, has however assured that government is committed to pursuing the case to a logical conclusion. A federal high court in Abuja on Thursday has refused Olisa Mehta's application to travel abroad for treatment, despite obtaining a medical report for it from a UK-based hospital. Metro, who is standing trial for alleged fraud to the tune of 400 million naira, is seeking permission to travel abroad for urgent medical treatment. He wants the courts to release his passport to enable him get aid for a spinal cord disease in the UK, but that request has now been rejected. Justice Okonabang in his judgment said he was unsure if the defendant was truly ill. The Socio-Economic and Accountability Project, SERAP, has launched a report that catalogues why Nigeria has an infinitesimal number of convictions in the prosecution of corruption cases. The report exposes the dimensions of corruption and what should be done to combat it.
Irrespective of whether you're a big fish.
Titled Letting the Big Fish Swim, the 112-page report by SERAP details how those accused of high-level corruption are getting away with their crimes and profiting from Nigeria's legacy of impunity. The report specifically says between 2006 and 2013, 55 politicians, high-level public officials and leaders allegedly stole 1.354 trillion naira from the nation's treasury. Shedding more light on the report, consultant to the Socio-Economic and Accountability Project, Dr. Essa Onoja, listed the causes of delay of high-profile cases in Nigeria as alleged ill health of offenders, immunity clause, which is now used as a license for impunity, loopholes in legal processes, political interference, among others.
None of these offenders were sentenced to punishment proportionate to the seriousness of their level of offending. The major impediments or obstacles to enhance conviction rates in high-profile corruption cases in Nigeria include suspicious withdrawal of cases from investigators and prosecutors, delay tactics by defendants, ambiguous provisions in anti-corruption legislations.
The report is also very scathing of the Nigerian judiciary and the military, saying evidence abound that judges, judicial officers, lawyers and military officers are participants in the frenzy of stealing the country's national wealth.
The resources available to those who are involved in corruption is humongous. The budget of corruption is possibly bigger than the budget of this country. The man who engages in corrupt acts and steals $1 billion can afford to spend 900 million to fight his case. He's still making a profit.
And I'm hoping that the report, what this report this morning will do, beyond providing objective assessments of how anti-corruption has performed in terms of the big cases that remain cold today, my hope will be that it will jolt you to reaction again.
The report's launch also provides an opportunity for other anti-corruption advocates to speak out against the menace of corruption in the country and why it must be brought to a standstill.
For lawyers, please don't just complain here. Write petitions. Please, I beg you. Write petitions against bad lawyers, against bad judges.
We are at a point globally where there is a recognition and a realization that government alone will not fight corruption. It's class suicide. It's class suicide. So, for us to be able to make a turn, reach that turning point in the fight against corruption, Nigerians must rise up. Nigerians must rise up. And rising up include using that very powerful voter card.
When we raise issues like this, we want to put it in the front burner of public discourse so that those who rule us might perhaps listen to the point we are making, that in the fight against corruption, certain things still need to be put in place so that the fight is effective, efficient, and direct.
When asked if the Not Too Young to Run movements could do a better job at fighting corruption, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission prosecutor Wahab Shitu said the youths are not ready for leadership and instead need reorientation and training on moral values.
Have you also taken the statistics of those who are engaged in armed robbery, who are engaged in internal fraud, who are going Yahoo and some others, and find out whether they are young people or old people? So it has nothing to do with age. I think we need to revolutionize our society in terms of orientations and values.
The verdict from this forum is that despite the present government's fight against corruption, much still needs to be done to tackle the menace. The report concludes that anti-corruption laws require periodic reforms to eliminate loopholes and opportunities for criminal defendants. It blames actors within relevant institutions and calls for a change of mindset in interpreting and applying the law. Annetta Felix, TV360, Lagos. The Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation has highlighted some of the achievements of the ministry in the past year. Briefing newsmen after the Federal Executive Council meeting on Wednesday, Permanent Secretary to the SGF's office, Habib Lawal, noted that agencies under their command undertook 94 projects during the period. Now, out of the 94 projects, she said that 30 projects were brought to the council for approval, while the remaining 64 were done at the ministerial threshold. According to her, 16 of the 30 projects approved by the council have been completed. 8 of the projects are 70 to 90% complete, while about 4 of the projects are 40 to 50% complete.
We have 55 projects completed, 16 are ongoing, 71 completed, 23 ongoing, both with the Federal Executive Council approval and the ministerial approval. Like I've also said, it covers about 32 states of the Federation plus the FCT. In terms of significant impacts, the projects collectively within the Ecological Fund were able to impact directly over 8,820 lives, in addition to increase in economic productivity, safety of lives and property, improving the standard of living of the beneficiaries, and also affording farmers access to their farmlands and markets, and also increasing intercommunal relationship and peace, and also increasing the presence of federal government in those communities for which ecological or erosion works have been done. Values of properties have also been enhanced, and then we have communities that have extended their appreciation to government. That is a summary for the Ecological Fund Office. Altogether, within the period under review, we had an approval of 54 billion naira. And it is within those approval that these 94 projects have been done, for which 71 have been completed.
Fidelia Aguncha is standing by for business news.
Corruption not in my country.
Now, yeah?
Yes, Oga.
Okay.
Where I go come find 300 naira change?
I better try look for change now. When they do business. Hey, Timmy. I did, bro. I be. I beg, give me 200 naira. Make I take sort out this guy. If let's say no get change.
Take it, give us.
I said 200.
Give her 100 naira.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree to pay 200 naira.
How much you think they carry people from that place we carry on the chair?
Okay.
Why they touch me?
Now 100 naira. He agreed to pay.
Because that was what you said was the fair. Why you not go pay you? Why you they extort your customer? You see this corruption, what would they hear for news? They see for people everywhere. Lying be this so. This is corruption, not in our country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Thank you, Aneta. Looking at business stories now, the House of Representatives says Kemi Adelson, Minister of Finance, was right to suspend Monir Guazo, Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. The minister suspended Guazo in November, a time when SEC was about to conduct a forensic audit on Oando PLC. She had also set up an administrative panel to probe allegations of corruption leveled against him, but the House had probed the timing of the suspension. At one of its hearings, Guazo claimed Adelson suspended him for refusing to stop Oando's audit. However, at plenary on Wednesday, the House considered and adopted the report of the committee, which ruled that the suspension is in order. Nigeria Central Bank said on Wednesday that it had injected $210 million into the interbank foreign exchange market, extending efforts to boost liquidity and alleviate dollar shortages. The bank said in a statement it had released $100 million earmarked for the wholesale market, $55 million for small businesses and individuals, and $55 million for certain dollar expenses such as school fees and medical bills. Meanwhile, the Naira continued its stability in the forex market, exchanging at an average of 360 Naira to a dollar in the BDC segment of the market on Wednesday. Oil prices kept rising to their highest since late 2014 as U.S. crude inventories declined. Brent crude reached $74.74 a barrel, while U.S. crude futures were up by 53 cents at $69 a barrel. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and other major producers, including Russia, started to withhold output in 2017 to rein in oversupply that had depressed prices since 2014. OPEC and its partners will meet in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia on April 20, and OPEC will then meet on June 22nd to review its oil production policy. The Nigerian Stock Exchange closed in the greens on Thursday, gaining 0.25% to close at 40,874.09 basis points. The market capitalization stood at 14.764 trillion naira, with 5,554 shares exchanging hand at 8.914 billion naira. Dangote Cement, Owando, Eterna PLC, Fitson Pharmaceuticals led the gainers table, appreciating by 1.41%, 6.08%, 4.82%, and 4.68% respectively. Stocks of Mobil, International Breweries, GlaxoSmithKline, and Guarantee Trust Bank topped the losers table, crashing by minus 4.74%, minus 2.78%, minus 1.94%, and 0.79% respectively. The most traded equities for the day were First City Monument Bank, Owando, Zenith Bank PLC, and Guarantee Trust Bank. Well, that's it on business news. Aneta will be back shortly.
People to get only 10 people to register to vote, 10 new voters. Each of us standing here today, when you get back home, when you get to your place of work, your school, try and get 10 new people that do not have their PVC to register to vote. We're going to take on our website onevoice.ng, onevoice.ng. Please go there, give us the information. If you get 10 people to vote, then you're amongst us.
So at least start with your voter's card and begin to use that to bargain about the type of person you want to see on February 16, 2019 and March 2nd on the ballot paper.
So we want to focus on people who haven't voted before. It's 100,000 people who are looking to pledge that, because that gives us a minimum of 1 million new voters.
Instead of to say, my vote no go count now, try vote first, then you see whether it will count, you know.
Thank you, Fidelia. Now on the international scene, Miguel Diaz-Canel has been sworn in as Cuba's new president, replacing Raul Castro, who took over from his alien brother Fidel in 2006. Well, this is the first time since the revolution in 1959 that a Castro is not at the helm of the government. Diaz-Canel has been serving as the first vice president for the past 5 years. Now, even though Diaz-Canel was born after the revolution, he's a staunch ally of Raul Castro and is not expected to make any radical changes. Ethiopia's new prime minister has named a new cabinet where 6 of the 16 members are from the previous cabinet. Abiy Ahmed said on state television that he has reshuffled 6 ministers and introduced 10 more. While he moved the former mining minister to the role of defense minister and kept the finance and foreign ministers in their roles. He has requested parliament to ratify the change, but as everyone in parliament is from the ruling coalition, observers say it is expected to go through. Well, in sports, the president of the Nigeria Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, has said the Super Eagles stand the chance of getting $24 million if they play in the final of the 2018 World Cup. Pinnick told journalists in Abuja on Wednesday that the money was part of the agreement reached with the players to share 50-50 whatever would accrue to the country if they get to the final and lift the trophy. The World Cup will hold from June 14 to July 15 in Russia. The Eagles, who have never gone past the second round, are in Group D with Argentina, Iceland and Croatia. Chelsea's Marcos Alonso will miss the FA Cup semi-final against Southampton at Wembley on Sunday after being given a 3-match ban for violent conduct. The 27-year-old Spanish defender was charged by the Football Association after a challenge on Shane Long in Saturday's 3-2 win against the Saints. Alonso denied the charge and said such a suspension would be excessive, but this was rejected after an Independence Commission hearing on Wednesday. He will miss Premier League matches at Burnley on Thursday and Swansea on April 28th. Thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Annetta Felix. Bye for now.